getting ready, getting all this boat traffic out of the way. My name is Zach. I'm a student here at Texas State University. I'll be giving y'all this awesome tour today here at the Meadows Center. We are here on top of a freshwater lake known as Spring Lake, and as the name suggests, it is completely filled by spring. Some rainwater, but mostly spring water.
You're gonna go that way. You've got some traffic.
Yeah.
What is that, fishy? It's water. It's
Or
a
you can radio
fishy.
to 78 and just
Ooh,
back out the
see all the
dock.
fishy? It's a fish. It's a fish, Mama.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, huh?
Alright, and we're going to go ahead and start leaving the dock and head upstream here.
Get out.
I do have a couple quick rules as we leave the dock. If we could refrain from shedding anything on these railings, as well as holding anything outside. Arms are fine. Hopefully they're not going to fall out of the boat. Hopefully they're all attached. But that way we don't lose anything in the lake, as well as if we want to set anything or hold anything over the middle glass, just make sure we have a firm grip on it. That way nothing falls on there. This glass is from 1956. Would like to keep it pretty pristine. It's been around for a little bit. So, none of the rest of the boat is from 1956, just the glass. This actually I think they finished the remodel on this thing in 2023, I want to say. So, it's relatively new, but that glass is not. But with that being said, has anybody been out here before?
Yeah. Like 30 years ago.
Oh, wow, look at that big one.
One might have been a little bit different.
Look at Mama. Look at the water.
Actually, exactly 30 years ago was when the amusement park was closed in 1996. So, yeah, because it's 2026. Yeah. So, 30 years ago, this place was finishing up the amusement park. So it might look a little different. There's a lot of things that aren't here. There's the big sore thumb that's not here, the submarine theater.
What do you think? Maybe that's the one that we went in.
There's the submarine theater that would load people into the water. Yeah.
This was bigger. It was flat. No, man. It was bigger. Yeah, but it was flat on the ground. Not like this. Yeah.
These boats have always had this same viewing well style since the 50s. So this hasn't changed at all. It's just newer wood. The only one that wouldn't have had this style was the original concept boat, 1945. Its original look, it was more or less a pontoon. They kind of strapped two pontoon, I forget what they're called, but the two big metal tubes that make a pontoon, and then they put the glass in between it. But these are the same, like, they just redid the wood, and instead of a wood holder, there's a glass holder, these things. That's the main difference. A lot of this, like this is the exact same wood design that they had, at least for roofing. I think they redid the seat design.
I don't like that.
They used like the exact same specifications.
Oh, wow.
Very large mouth bass right there. This is a federally protected body of water, so none of these fish get fished. So they get to grow nice and large.
This baby.
But as we make our way up to our first stop here, we might start to notice some white sand. And that is our first spring
Yeah, they do. And they're snorkeling and they
that we'll be at today. This is a spring known as Crater Bottom.
Look at that air pump right there.
Oh, yeah.
And
You see the water coming
we
in?
have here are what are known as artesian springs, which kind of means they're under pressure. And they're under pressure because deep down below us is a large limestone cave system full of water known as the Edwards Aquifer. And over time, the Edwards Aquifer has filled up, and it is under pressure because the heavy ground around it pushes down and shoots the water back up through a fault line known as the Balcones fault line. We can kind of see a little bit of that. Let me get a little bit better position where the wind's not pushing me to see that fault line. The fault line will be kind of more on my right side.
Pretty cool.
The fault line's kind of that grayer rock, more to the right side of this.
Where at?
When he snorkeled.
But
Oh.
the first spring we'll look at is a type of spring known as a vent
When we're in
spring.
Puerto Rico, he was.
You're going to kind of get out of here just because the wind's picking up. There's not a whole lot of space to maneuver up here in the headwaters. But that is a type of spring known as a vent spring. And a vent spring is pretty much an unobstructed flow from the aquifer. So that water's kind of shooting straight out through the fault line. But as we make our way to our second spring, that hopefully there's a little bit of vegetation covering some of it, but we should get it. We'll be able to sit a little longer.
Go to the city.
Like right there.
This is like Phil Sam's Jello.
But we might notice this large tan building over here. Back in the amusement park days, it was a hotel. And it would have originally opened in 1929 as a hotel. But as memory serves, 1929 was quite a terrible year to open a hotel, as we would enter the Great Depression at the end of that year. And so it didn't get to live its hotel days for long. It got repurposed as a boarding school and a few other things. Eventually, in the late 40s, when the amusement park opened up, it did get to live its hotel glory days. But now it primarily sits as office space. There is a free aquarium / discovery hall at the very far end of that building, where we house some native endemic species, and as well as some threatened and endangered species. So those are just native fishes that live here, and endemic means they only live in one area, and some of the species we have there only live here in the San Marcos River, or in the aquifer even below the San Marcos, below the city of San Marcos. But I will talk about this a little later on.
Look at the little fishies over there. There's like a big fish tank right.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So we should start hopefully seeing
Okay,
some
right
of
here.
that bright sand
Look at Scarlett.
showing up. And this is another vent spring known as Weissmuller Spring.
It looks deep, right? Right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is roughly 15 to 20 feet deep here. We'll do a rotation over it here, that way we can get pointed back downstream as well. Hopefully it'll give us a better view of it.
Look at all the fishes. Scarlett. Scarlett, look at all the fishes. Look at the fish.
Big fish, big fish. Over here, Mom.
Look at mama.
Look right there. There's a
You see them? You see the fishies? Look at, hold on. Hold on, look at this right there. Did you see it? Look at that. Scarlett, there's three. Look at, there's three.
This is a type of vent spring that we call Weissmuller Spring. And it's another area where we can see a lot of that white sand, which is that crushed up limestone that's getting shot out from the aquifer.
Count them.
A pretty cool little feature that kind of denotes where the springs are at.
Hasta que uno sabe así. There was a big one like that. Crocodile and anacondas. Not a crocodile, I want to say a crocodile. Well, that's what it was. When we came with Letty, it was a submarine that we went in. It was a yellow submarine that we went in underneath water.
See any doing it. Oftentimes, if y'all are on the lookout, oftentimes the fish like to sit in the wake of the spring vent openings, because down in the aquifer there's a whole nother aquatic world completely down in the aquifer, where there's a bunch of small aquatic bugs, little microinvertebrates, and
I think she said
everything that's down there is usually pretty blind. There's also the
I
apex
don't even
predator
use
of
that
that
word, 'cause I don't even
ecosystem
think
is what's
it's
known as
gonna
the
help.
Texas blind
Ever.
salamander. They're only about 4 inches long on average. It's pretty much the largest thing down there. San Antonio has some blind catfish in their aquifer region, but those don't overlap. Oftentimes the aquifer will close up in some areas and not allow for a lot of actual things to transfer through.
Why the salamanders blind?
They live completely in the aquifer, so they do have what are known as vestigial eyes, which is just a fancy term to say like remnants. How humans will have a vestigial tailbone, but they do not. There's no light down there. They rely on different senses with vibrations and other things, and so they do not utilize eyes, and so they just kind of over time, I guess it made it better to get rid of them since they were living down there in the aquifer. And so oftentimes, I say that because oftentimes a lot of those things with these springs being under pressure, it kind of creates a vacuum effect down on the bottom side of the aquifer. And so water kind of, if you get to a certain area, it's kind of getting vacuumed up to the surface, and oftentimes those small little bugs will get caught in that stream and they'll get shot out, and the fish love to just sit there and eat them up. It's kind of like their drive-through. But the salamander that we have, that Texas blind salamander, we do have a couple of them in our aquarium. It's an endangered species.
Oh, wow, look at that.
That's they're huge.
I was trying to show you.
The larger ones are back.
I went like that to my home.
Mom don't want a fishing reel.
We often get to see a few different expressions of the bass.
I caught it right.
Where sometimes in their more breeding season, their colors get a little bit different, where they get that kind of tigery spotted color. It's really cool to see.
Oh,
But there is tons of huge bass and huge sunfish in here.
I don't think you go very far.
Look at the other ones way over there.
Oh, okay.
Look at them swimming over there. See them?
Yeah. No, I think those are scuba divers.
But as we make our way downstream here, I'll point out this
Man, those
section
fish were huge,
to
though.
my right
I don't
here.
think I got them on
This
camera.
algae section.
But at least I got your attention.
It's an area we call turtle
And
town.
the phone didn't fall.
If you look closely at all the algae, we might start seeing some turtle heads poking out.
Nice because they're chilling.
Seeing a few right now. Also, they do like to hang out on the trees. There's a ton right out here. Oh my gosh. You can kind of see their backs look like bumps out there. Or their shells. But
Oh,
there's
yeah.
also a bird hanging out.
Yeah, I see that bird.
As a type of diving bird called a cormorant. And unlike most diving birds, the cormorant doesn't have any oils on its feathers to wick away the water, so it actually has to sit out and dry out. And so in doing that, this Texas sun gets a little hot, so I'd imagine the bird does too. And so it does that little vibration thing with its throat, which is known as gular fluttering, which is a way for it to kind of regulate its body temperature. 56 to 63 on the past. We'll start picking up the pace here. We'll pass a couple boats. I kind of waited a little longer up there that way because there's 3 boats that were downstream, so that way we can get more space. I will mention this area, this buoyed off area on the way back in. Don't worry, it's actually a rather important area. But I don't have time to sit with these boats coming down, so I will get to it once we start heading back in from downstream. But right now we'll head downstream, and we might have noticed it getting a little bit deeper, as well as the bottom's a little bit more rockier, because this is part of the original riverbed of the San Marcos River. A couple trees down there too. But in 1849, a man named General Edward Burleson placed a dam here, about a quarter mile from the backstop. It's kind of straight ahead and to the left a little bit.
Right here,
And
yeah.
it would have filled up this area. That's why there's some trees falling in. They fell in from the shoreline. But this is still a rather rocky area because this is the original riverbed where, the San Marcos River being a rather shallow and fast-flowing river, didn't allow much mud or anything to settle in the riverbed. So we still see that being true today as well, because a lot of the flow still pushes through this portion here. why there's also not as many plants, because they can't really hold on to the rocks as well. There is a lot of algae, but the algae doesn't grow quite like the plants do here. But down in that gravelier substrate is a favorite habitat of a threatened species that we have here, known as the San Marcos salamander. And the San Marcos salamander is really, really cool because it is endemic. Meaning it only lives in one area. It is endemic to the lake itself and about the first 150 meters into the San Marcos River.
Look at that rock.
Look at that big fish right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great journal rock. Just wanted to let you know.
Kind of push through here. This is a rockier area.
Another cork. See him eating the grass over there?
Is there a guard down there?
Look at that rock. I want to go under that.
Actually, the cool thing about those rocks is they're one of them. It's a little bit closer to the tree. In these windier conditions, not really as possible to kind of sit up against the tree like you can in the less windier conditions. But there is actually a spring that shoots out.
Current count is 10-1-0.
Try to turn Scarlet. Take a picture, yo. Try to turn Scarlet. Take a picture, Scarlet. Or just like that, like looking. Yeah, like that.
Big smile. Big smile.
Believe it or not, we are headed to the deepest part of the lake, at about 27 feet deep. It is also the largest accumulation of the springs we have here. I like to preface that while it's still really shallow, because it will be a rather steep drop off. For those of you that are up front, you can kind of see that blue up there. So we'll start hitting it right about now.
Oh, right here, look. You see it?
This is the deepest portion of our lake here. Very creatively named Deep Hole. Stands at about 27 feet deep right now. It's the only consistently measured part of the lake. And we've got some scuba divers down
Oh,
there.
yeah, look. Check it out.
Oh, she's gonna miss it.
We have crews and volunteer scuba divers that will come out here and help manage the vegetation. It does grow rather fast. And the easiest way to help manage that without destroying a lot of the ecosystem and the habitats is to come out here and literally do it by hand. And so we're very appreciative because they are all volunteers. There's a few paid divers, but it's mostly volunteers that come out here and do it.
There you go, Pedro. You can volunteer.
They're awesome people.
Put your mask with the water in it. You bought a mask with water goes in his eyes.
Oh, we're getting water right there. Look at the boat. You see the water?
But out here at Deep Hole is actually a really good site to see the fault line that gives us our springs. Hopefully the diver doesn't kick too much up. But we can kind of start seeing that rockier outcropping as opposed to that whiter, sandier sediment.
What if
Kind of
we hit a
straight ahead's a little bit better view. Kind of get in line with it. But
Well,
there's kind of
if it hits a
rockier
rock, it's going to be
overhang
that
up
shallow.
ahead.
The boat will just sit on
That
it.
is part of our fault line, and directly under that is where the water flows straight out of.
The water just flows right under.
Look, Scarlett, look at how deep it is. What color is the water? Is it water or sand?
This water coming out from the aquifer stays at a consistent 72 degrees year-round. Makes for really awesome warm water in the winter down in the river, and really, really cool water in the summer. Down into a lot of the city parks here in San Marcos and the University Sewell Park right over the dam, it stays pretty close to that 72 without warming up too much. But
The kid's playing on that kid over seems to be an issue. They're on the second base.
to
Oh, look
get
at that turtle.
along with this
Look at that turtle,
photo.
Scarlett.
Follow it in.
Look, there's some there now.
I saw that turtle, you missed it.
Rather murky.
You see it? Where do you see a turtle, Mama? There you are. Sleeping. There's a turtle.
56 to 45 minutes following you back there.
Thank you for docking.
Back behind me, we see this kind of marshier, shallower area we call our wetlands. That's why it's really pretty shallow over there. Maybe a foot or two deep, and probably another 4 feet in mud. But as it gets a little bit closer to those cattails, the water's only a few inches deep in those spots, and it makes for a whole different environment back there, which is really cool to see. We do have a little 1/10 of a mile long boardwalk that's out there. There's 3 different entrances, and I'll kind of point out a better directional way to get there once we get into the dock.
Walk it?
Yeah, it's about a 1/10 of a mile. There's 3 different entrances to it. But it's a fun little thing. I will preface, it does get really hot here, and the boardwalk itself is gray. It's like a composite material, and it will get fairly hot in some of the areas. I will warn that right now, because it will get really warm. But we will start heading back upstream here. Hopefully get a chance to maybe see a few more of them large fishes we have.
You would think, right?
Owned by the school or the state or the federal government?
Technically the state, because this is a public university, but it is owned by Texas State University,
Got it.
which technically means it's owned by the state since it's a public university.
Yeah.
The waters here are federally protected waters
Okay.
due to the endangered and threatened species that live here. But this technical body of water is actually one of the few owned bodies of water, and it's completely because it has that federal protection. It's like pretty much everywhere else on the river, as long as you can find a public access point. You know, it's a river, it's fair game to get in, but here it is federally protected, and then the land immediately surrounding it is all owned by the university. So it kind of blocks off the body of water entirely. But I guess that technically makes it kind of state-owned. But the university purchased this property in 1996 from the Aquarina Springs Amusement Park. And the amusement park has owned and operated it for about 50 years between 1949 and 1996. But later on in the amusement park days, a few more amusement parks popped up. I should say water parks like Schlitterbahn, Fiesta Texas, and SeaWorld. And if I know anything about the hot summer sun in Texas, I'd much rather be at one of those places than hanging out here oftentimes, because this wasn't really a water park where guests could really get in the water here. There was a pool, but it wasn't just open swim. So a lot more people
wait for
started
the
going
owner to
there
drop it.
and kind of ran the amusement park out of business. And so the university wound up purchasing it to kind of help protect and keep the ecosystem here with some of the endangered and threatened species. That way it can still be managed, and I'm sure the university does love this. It's a great research site. But where the amusement park got its
That's
name
mine.
from, it was called the Aquarina Amusement Park, and if you drove in from the I-35 side, most likely the road he came in on was Aquarena Springs Drive. And Aquarena is shortened from the Aqua Arena, which the Aqua Arena would have been in this area immediately to my right here. It is now a dive training area where divers can come get open water certified. But it used to be this large arena, if you will, is what they called it. And there was a large, like, kind of fake mountain backstop. And the main attraction of that arena was the submarine theater, which would have sat along that, excuse me, back concrete wall. Basically a large glass box that would have lowered the audience into the water and allowed them to see a show. There was swimming mermaids, a swimming clown, and a little pig at the surface named Raoul. And they would put on different skits. I know one of the big skits they did is they had an underwater picnic. And at one point they even held a wedding between one of the mermaids and one of the clowns that worked here under the water. And it was a real, like, it was an actual wedding. The wedding officiant was actually in the theater doing it. So the wedding officiant didn't get in the water, but they had their whole ceremony in the water. 56 for docking.
56, you're good to come in.
But it was a really fun place to hang out. But with it being really hot and most of the attractions being outdoors, I do not blame a lot of people for choosing a water park oftentimes. It's still fun to hang out here. I quite like it, driving around these boats, but it definitely doesn't get the herds of people it used to. But as we come into docking, I'll ask if everybody could sit down and remain seated.
Okay, come on. We're going to get off the board.
And we will remain seated until that big silver gate opens up. And that'll be our cue to leave. But if y'all want to go check out that wetlands boardwalk, y'all can get off the boat here once we disembark everybody and head to the right down the gravel path. And it makes pretty much a giant loop, and there's 3 different entrances into the boardwalk. Or if y'all want to go check out that aquarium, and or both. The aquarium will be off into the left, kind of back where you got tickets from, and across the headwaters into this large tan building, Spring Lake Hall. It'll be through some glass double doors at the end. And there's also actually rooftop access to get kind of like an overlook of the lake on the 3rd floor. So that is pretty fun.
Check it out.
That green overlook is no longer in use. It is old wood from, I think it was built, or at least the last time it was redone would have been the 80s, so that would have been sitting outside for quite some time. I wouldn't personally trust it. But as we come into dock here, if y'all got any final questions, feel free to ask, and we'll wait for our dock hands to tie us up, and they'll give us the all clear to disembark with that big silver gate opening. But with that, if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask while we get to the dock here. If not, we'll sit tight for a moment. Alrighty, y'all are free to disembark. Thank y'all very much for coming out. I hope y'all have a good 4th of July. Enjoy the rest of y'all's day.
Thank you.
Again, off and to the right is that wetlands boardwalk, and then off and down to the left is where you'll find that aquarium at the end of Spring Lake Hall there.
Hey, thanks, man. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me. Check it out. It's AC. Yeah.
Oh my God, he made you come in.
No, I asked her to.
Pick me up. Pick me up. I was still out there. The sheriff's. Oh, there's stuff over here, Amanda.
Oh, you're showing the AC, man. There's some restrooms, Nanny, over there if you need to go.
I know. The Society of Saints plus X declaring the group to be separate.
You saw the salamander?
The SSP. They look like they're walking. It says that they're like, look like they're walking fish.
Oh, this one?
Mm-hmm. It's right here.
Oh, there, I see one right there. Right on the top of there. It's pretty cool. Let's check out the salamander. Oh, yeah, they're the blind, the Texas blind salamander. Oh, wow.
Yeah, redwoods.
The Texas blind salamanders. And then what do we got here? Sea creatures. Mermaids. Mermaids. Turtle. There's nothing up there? What about the roof view?
You really can't see anything to the trees back though. Nothing where he started that. Better probably get up there. Probably not.